Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Title Tuesday. I got Eric Downing with me again today. And Eric, man, thanks a lot for joining me. Just really appreciate these, giving some great insights that you've been able to provide. So thanks a lot for joining me on these. And today we're going to talk a little bit about inspection periods. So we've been going through kind of a series of just like going through different parts of a purchase agreement and like how it relates to a wholesaler and also how it relates to the title company, being able to kind of give our perspectives on what it means, things to consider, things you might need to think about, that type of thing. So when it comes to an inspection period, I think it's something that this is a little bit on the wholesaler. I think more of, for you guys, it's probably just like cut and dry, like this is what a contract says. But from a wholesaler, it's something that I think everybody should consider on knowing exactly what that inspection period means. So is number one, are you going to have an inspection period? Is there going to have a time for your buyers to be able to go through, look at that property? And maybe there isn't one. Maybe everything is supposed to be done on the front end before that contract gets signed. And that's okay to do it that way as well. But then actually defining how many days is that inspection period? What does that entail? And then also, if that inspection period runs up, can they still get out of their contract later? What happens in that situation? We talked about earnest money on the last thing. I know that's the biggest thing too, of like during that inspection period, if someone walks away from the contract because there's something that they see in their inspection, where does that earnest money go? Or is it a legit claim to receive the earnest money back because it's something you found in that inspection period? You just walk through and say, I don't like it anymore. Well, that should have been discovered before you signed the contract. So that type of thing. But Eric, from your standpoint, and from title work and stuff like that, is that inspection period a big thing that you guys have to consider or worry about, or do you have big issues that pop up with that?
Yeah, I mean, from title, not if I was to talk about a title company at a 30,000 foot view, no, we don't care that much about the inspection period. Now, where it comes into, our realm of things is, is the wholesaler or is the investor using the inspection period to really just figure everything out? I mean, we know that's part of what you're doing with the property and figuring out the state of the property, and presumably you're getting an inspection done either by someone on your own team, yourself, or a professional. What we find a lot of time with new investors is they're using the inspection period to get title work back and then determine whether or not the title work is dirty or what's going to need to be done, and then they're finding an out from that, basing it something on the property, and that's not really right, because a title company goes to a lot of expense to do the work that we do, and so it's not right to just leave us with the bill to pay for the title work and the exam and getting you a title commitment to tell you how dirty the property is, just for you to walk away with it having to do anything with inspections. In the same note, when you're looking at a purchase agreement, an inspection date is, say you give yourself 7 days for inspection. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the expiration date of the purchase agreement. So we see a lot of confusion with new investors that think that, well, if I give myself 7 days, then that should also be the closing date. No, probably not. There's probably more work to be done on all sides of the transaction. So there's usually going to be a date listed in there for the expiration of the contract, whether that be so many days beyond the extension or the period of time after the inspection period is over. Sometimes we see, 3 days after due diligence, or whatever it might be. But at a 30,000 foot view, no, we don't really care about the inspection period, because we're still going to be transacting on all the things that are important to us, which is, conveying clear and marketable title to a buyer.
So great stuff. And I think just you going back to like that wholesaler standpoint, I think it's something that you definitely need to include on your contract in some way. Whether it affects the title kind of down the road or anything, maybe not, but you need to indicate it in some way so your buyer knows. Do they have no time to do an inspection? Do they have 5 days, 7 days, whatever it may be? And then you're able to have that inspection period, and they can close after that down the road once title's clear and stuff like that. So again, something that maybe not necessarily affects the title company or the title process, but something that needs to be included on the purchase agreement. Yes, definitely put that on there. Inform your buyers, inform your sellers, and I got Eric. You got something else to add?
Yeah, I was just thinking something that as we're talking about it, how it affects title. It's really important that if you do find out in that inspection period that you're not going to move forward, let title know as quickly as possible, because we don't know what your inspection results are. So we're going to continue to work on that file and, at an expense. So make sure that you're letting us know. We oftentimes get a file cleared and find out, well, this canceled because of the inspection. And well, how long ago? Well, 2 weeks ago, or a week ago. So just keep in mind that one of your partners in the deal is the title company, and make sure that you're informing them of your canceling of it or whatever it is. If you've got earnest money, you're probably going to, because you want money back. But there are still contracts out there with very little or no earnest money on them, or that haven't been submitted yet per the purchase agreement. So just make sure you're informing the title company, because they're going to keep working on that file.
Yeah, I'd say just as a wholesaler too, know when your buyer is doing that inspection. When are they getting out there? When are they checking out? So number one, you can follow up with them, figuring out that yes or no or whatever. That way you can relay it to the title company as well. So good stuff. Thanks a lot for this episode of Title Tuesday, and we'll see you guys next week. We got 5 in the month of March, so coming back with one more. Take care.